All right, hello everyone. Thank you so much. Welcome to our Practicing Wellness on Campus webinar. We are going to give our attendees just a minute or two to get logged in. So as we have folks joining us, we'll just give here a quick second in order to make sure everyone's able to log in. But we have some fantastic speakers for you today. We have two members of our counseling staff who work in the counseling center here on campus, here to give you some really great information. And we also have a fantastic Oglethorpe student joining us as well, who's involved in the Active Minds Club on campus, who can definitely tell you more about that group and what they do. But we're really excited to have you all here. We're just going to give, like I said, a quick minute to allow everyone to log in. We are excited to take your questions, so you are welcome at any point to use the Q&A function at the bottom of your Zoom window to send us any questions that you may have, and we will answer as many as we can get to. That'll be a little bit later on in the webinar, but you're welcome to start sending them now if you like, and we will get to them shortly. We will give just about another 30 seconds to a minute to allow everybody to log in. We're really excited that you're here with us. We're going to give you some great information about services that are available on campus for students, some different tips that our great staff and student can offer to you, and then also take your questions as I mentioned. So thank you for joining us. My name is Kelly Butler. I'm Associate Director of Admission at Oglethorpe. If you've attended any of our webinars, you're probably tired of my face by now. You've probably seen me before, but I'm really excited to be here with you guys and give you some great information that I think will be super helpful for you. And then we'll introduce our other members here in just one second. All right, so we are at a pretty steady number here. I'm sure we'll have a few more folks logging in, but we'll go ahead and let our participants introduce themselves and we'll get started. So if you're just joining us, thanks for joining the Practicing Wellness on Campus webinar, and we're excited to take your questions shortly. All right, I will pass it over to Claire first. If you'd like to introduce yourself, Dr. Fuller.
Hello, I am Dr. Claire Fuller. I'm the Director of Counseling Services at Oglethorpe, and I am starting, as you all start, I'm starting my 5th year here.
Hi, I am Essence Washington. I am a therapist in the Counseling Center, and I just celebrated my 1st year at Oglethorpe University.
Hi guys, my name is Khushboo Patel. I'm a student here. I'm a rising senior and a biology major. I'm originally from Zimbabwe, and I'm the founder and president of Active Minds on campus, which is a mental health organization created by students to kind of end the stigma around mental health and just have a conversation.
Fantastic. Thank you guys so much for being with us. And like I said, they're excited to take your questions, so you're welcome to send them in at any point. The first thing we're going to do here to get started is Essence and Dr. Fuller have prepared a presentation for you guys to give you a little bit more information about the Counseling Center on campus. So I'm going to turn it over to them to share that with us and go ahead and give us some more information.
Great. So I will start by telling you what the Counseling Center is and what we do, and then Essence will talk to you about some tips for transitioning to college. And Essence is putting up our PowerPoint. Thank you. So how do I move this to get our pictures off the screen? Oh, there we go. Fine. So I would like to tell you about the Counseling Center at Oglethorpe. We have been talking to a lot of students over this summer, especially with the transition to so many things being done digitally to online, remotely, to ask students how the Counseling Center could be most helpful. And what we have learned is that a lot of students weren't aware that we even have the Counseling Center. And so I'm delighted that we're having this session so that we can talk to you about it as you're coming in, and we're looking for other opportunities to give you reminders throughout the first semester. So the Counseling Center is located in the basement of the library in Lowry Hall. And we provide one-to-one counseling. So this is our staff right now, is me full-time, Essence, licensed clinical social worker, is full-time, Ziggy, the therapy dog, is full-time, and Nicole Collar, who's a trauma specialist, is here 1 day a week, and we are in the process of looking for another therapist. So Counseling services are free and open to any enrolled student. And so this is a very important aspect. So counseling, one-to-one individual counseling sessions. So sessions are usually 50 minutes, usually every other week, and you meet with the same counselor every week. And people come in to talk about all sorts of things. So they'll come in to talk about adjustment to college. They'll come in to talk about feelings of anxiety, about relationship issues, about relationships with parents, about even some career exploration, although we have an excellent career center. But with that, what sorts of aspects of yourself would you like to be more comfortable with and express more? And the counseling center is one place on campus where you get confidentiality. So that means when you come to see one of us in the counseling center, nobody else is going to know that you were even there. If you're under 18, we need to talk about getting permission from your parents, and we ask for confidentiality. But if you're 18, so Essence and and Nicole may talk about who comes into the counseling center and what might be most helpful, but we don't talk to other people in the university. We don't talk to parents. We don't talk to other students or faculty. It is not part of your academic record. So it's really a place where you can talk about anything that you need to talk about privately. We also provide consultation. So for a student, say, who has been in therapy for the last 4 years in high school and might want a therapist that they can see every week for the 4 years, we probably would help you to find something that's in the community, either insurance covers it or is affordable. But whatever place you're in wanting to talk about whatever may be going on with you, come in and see us and we will talk to you about what might be most helpful, ideas. And we are introducing a couple of new programs in the fall that we're very excited about. So in addition to the one-to-one counseling, we are doing what oh, is that, sorry, I'm not going in order of my PowerPoint. So more likely, we're going to continue with doing the one-on-one counseling via Zoom in the fall, because it's really not conducive to therapy to be wearing masks. And the only way we could really do it in person is if both therapist and the student were wearing a mask. And so we have found over the last couple of months doing Zoom that it actually works better to have to do it via Zoom. And if there's any issues with privacy, we're working on some things so we can set it up so that you have somewhere on campus that you can go that's private while we're in our offices or home doing Zoom from there. We're introducing some new groups. So please, I encourage any of you who have ideas about groups that might be helpful to get in touch with us. So we're thinking about anxiety management, communication skills, depression. We may do a people of color support group. We may do, we're thinking about all sorts of things, and we find, and talking to lots of students about what might be helpful, and we find that the most effective thing are the things that students ask for. So if you have ideas about what might be helpful, please get in touch with us, and we're going to have the email was on the first page, counselingcenter@oglethorpe.edu. And I don't know, Kelly, if there's a way to put that in the chat or somehow for them to get it directly. Okay, so the new program we're introducing that we're very excited about is called Empowerment Coaching, or eCoach. So this is for people who don't necessarily feel like they need counseling to talk about any personal mental health issues or things that or depression or anxiety, and that they might not need or want individual counseling, but might be having trouble with some specific goals. So we've been doing a fair amount of this summer as students have been working from home and doing the classes remotely and having difficulty with motivation or staying connected or feeling kind of lonely or not having much of a schedule or sleep problems. And so what this program is that you get assigned an e-coach and you meet with them much more often. You and the coach figure out how often that will be, but for much briefer periods, so 10 to 15 minutes, you work together to do very specific goals and strategies, and together we'll come up with strategies that you do between sessions, and then you come back to talk about what worked and what didn't work. And people have worked on organizational issues, anxiety about exams, staying motivated during working remotely. And the way we've set up this program for now, but it's a trial basis, is that each student can use the program once a semester, and it will be for an 8-week period. So you get an 8-week empowerment coaching e-coach treatment, or not treatment, that's not even the right word, but support. We also are introducing a meditation moment that is going to be for the entire community. So twice a day for 5 to 10 minutes, we're going to come on Zoom and just do a guided meditation or a breathing exercise, or just a way to have a few-minute break from whatever your hectic day-to-day schedule is, to tune in and calm down and refocus and get centered. So we're excited about that too. We haven't quite picked the times or how we make it happen, but that is something that we're going to be introducing this fall. Medication management. So this is the most difficult part for me, because we don't have services. So we do not have a psychiatrist on campus, nor do we have access to low-cost psychiatry. We just haven't been able to find it. So for those of you who may be on psychiatric medications, we can help you find a psychiatrist locally, but most have waiting lists for the first appointment up to a month. And so you've got to plan ahead for that. And we find that what's most helpful, if you are on some medications that have been working well for you and you have a doctor prescribing those medications from home, is to continue seeing that doctor and have a parent mail the medications to you. I strongly recommend anybody who is currently in counseling, is anticipating the need for counseling, is currently on medications, and is not sure how this is going to work, to get in touch with me soon. My direct email is cfuller@oglethorpe.edu. I also check that counseling center email address every day, and it will be good. This is both for students and parents who may be listening, and if the parents are listening and want to be in touch with us, we much prefer it if you have your student with you on the call and talk about what kinds of needs you have and what might be helpful, so we can put things in place before the semester even starts.
Okay. So again, my name is Essence Washington. I'm one of the Counseling Center therapists, and I'm just going to provide a couple helpful tips that we feel would be beneficial for you to maintain wellness while you're on campus. So the first tip that I have is just stay connected to home, family, and friends. So of course, we know coming to a new environment, it's really important that we kind of feel like we're in a space where we feel connected to. And so a part of helping you stay connected is finding something from home, whether that be a stuffed animal, whether that be just something valuable to you that you might want to bring to campus to remind you of home, but also staying connected to your family and friends. So just giving phone calls, having meetups, so that way you kind of make sure that you're still connected to your home base. Our second tip is find a social club, activity, and or group. Of course, coming to campus, you'll be introduced to a lot of different clubs, a lot of different organizations. And it's important that being in a new environment, that you feel like you belong in that environment in some way. And so when you're able to identify some kind of club or social atmosphere, or even just friends who share similar values and beliefs and things that you enjoy doing, then you're able to find that connection, as well as build that foundation for your college career. The third tip is practice effective time management. So I know coming to campus is a big thing. You have a lot of things going on. You're meeting new people. You have new classes, new schedule, and it's all of your responsibility now. And so being able to stay on top of your time, whether that be classes, how much time you're spending with friends, how much time you're getting to your actual self, and then having that personal time is important. So whether you use an actual planner or a calendar or even just a phone app that you may have to keep track of all of the things that you're doing and making sure that you have enough time for those things that you have on your schedule. The fourth tip is a balanced diet. Of course, we all know that we want to eat healthy and we try to eat healthy, and sometimes it's very difficult to do so, but we do know that when you eat too much sugary and fatty foods, it can lead to fatigue, tiredness, lack of energy, and so making sure that we have somewhat of a balanced diet is important. 5, a good sleep routine. Now, I know that's difficult. We'll party. There's a lot of different things that are happening on college campus, but we also know that if you're not getting enough sleep, then, it can lead to maybe increased anxiety, increased depression, mood swings. So you want to make sure that you're getting enough sleep to keep your energy levels up, but also it's just helping to potentially fight off that anxiety or depression that may come. And our 6th tip is ask for help. So, of course, when you find yourself in a situation in which you just need more assistance, don't be afraid to ask for help. There are plenty of people on campus, plenty of resources that people are available to help you and answer your questions. Examples of that is Resident Life. We have a huge Resident Life staff. They're very friendly, very open, and you're more than welcome to come into their office and ask any questions that you have. The A-Lab, it's a lot of different things that are in the A-Lab, but there are plenty of different people in there that can help you. There's tutoring, advising, career services, a bunch of different options for you to go in and find a lot of different resources on campus. The Counseling Center, of course, is another helpful resource as well. And then there's multiple, again, organizations, groups, clubs, and people that you can interact with to ask those questions that you need help with. The 7th tip is find a mentor, coach, or a leader. So just finding somebody that may be more familiar with the campus. So if it's a student, it's somebody that might be maybe a junior or senior that can help you with a lot more questions, or also identifying maybe a teacher, a coach, a mentor. A great resource for this is a Compass advisor. They also give you a lot of different information. You can come to them with a lot of different questions. And even if they might not be able to answer the question, they can definitely probably redirect you to somebody that does know the answer to that question. And then the last tip is identify a way to de-stress. And so one of those things is thinking about what are some healthy coping skills? What can you do to unplug during stressful times after exams? You have quizzes, big tests, big projects, finding something that kind of helps you unwind, whether that be a self-care routine, identifying a group of friends that maybe you all do certain activities that you enjoy together. So just finding something that helps you to relax. A great resource for this is eCoach. All of the things that I discuss is a good thing for eCoaching. It helps you to kind of identify what are the problems and areas that I need to improve, and how can we effectively tackle those problems, and how can we identify it and make it more specific for you. So those are the tips that I'm sharing with you all. Of course, if you have any questions about anything that I share, you're more than welcome to put it in the Q&A box.
Love those tips. Not to put you on the spot or anything, but Khushboo, do you have anything that you like to do for your de-stress or your self-care routine if you've got a lot going on? I know you have lots of things happening with big tests coming up and things like that. So what do you recommend for students, or what do you like?
I definitely think that since coming to Oglethorpe, I really had to focus on self-care, and I really had to kind of take the time to really just take a moment away from school, take a moment away just from everything, and kind of focus more on myself. And I think a big part that helped me was definitely the counseling center. It kind of became my second home freshman and sophomore year, where whenever I was struggling with something, I would just always go and see a counselor and kind of just talk about what I was going through. There was also a lot of just different campus clubs, like art club. There was the South Asian Club, which was a way for me to kind of find people that are from South Asia and kind of like really just get back to my roots in a lot of ways. And then there's also just a lot of different faculty. My professors were amazing. I would just go and talk to them about random stuff. Like, it didn't even have to be about class. I would just go to them and be like, yeah, I had a sandwich for lunch. Just kind of like small things like that that really helped me kind of open up to a lot of people. And then also just practicing meditation. I know that the school freshman, sophomore, actually like throughout my entire time, we have like wellness weeks where there's like these different games that are put out for us. We can like go and play with slime or like play with stress balls or just kind of do different arts and crafts and stuff. And then there were also like puppy weeks where they would have dogs on campus just to help us de-stress. So it would always be a lot of fun playing with dogs. And yeah, it's really just, I managed to find a balance between school and kind of just taking care of myself. And a lot of people at Oglethorpe helped me find that balance. Mm-hmm.
Awesome, that is great advice. Everybody, please feel free to send us your questions to for either Essence and Claire, for Khushboo, for all of us. We are happy to answer them. Claire, for those who don't know about him, would you tell us a little something about Ziggy the therapy dog for people who haven't met or seen Ziggy? Is he here? I know he doesn't like Zoom meetings very much.
He's here, but he doesn't understand Zoom. And so, I mean, I could try to force him to say hello, but it's not going to be very effective. So Ziggy, whose real name is Sigmund, though he doesn't know that, is a therapy dog. And what that means is that when we are in person in the counseling center, he hangs out in the counseling center. And so he sits in on sessions sometimes. He greets people in the lobby. He walks around the campus with me. And I tell you, I walk around campus and more people say hello to Ziggy than say hello to me. So he does believe himself to be the Prince of Oglethorpe. And let us see if we can get him on the screen. No, how do I do this? Oh, he's not liking this already. Here we go, baby. There's Ziggy. There's Ziggy. He's just a little, nope. So you see that Ziggy with Zoom, which for any of you who have met him, he's totally different in person. He's very, very friendly, and he's not liking being quarantined. Oh yes, there's a YouTube video of Ziggy. So that's more Ziggy like he really is.
I just put Ziggy's video into the chat. Ziggy is normally wearing a very stylish sweater. Campus is his home, so he is very comfortable, and he will come sit in your lap if you come for an appointment, if you want. And he will also, you'll just see him running around and you can say hi. So everybody loves Ziggy. He is one of our awesome mascots. Khushboo, I wonder if you could tell us a little bit about Active Minds Club, maybe why you decided to form that club and the type of things that the club is involved in and what students could expect if they wanted to join.
Yeah, so I started Active Minds about a year ago, and it really came from just, I noticed that the school, like a lot of the students didn't really know the counseling services that were provided by Oglethorpe. And I felt like a lot of people that I knew actually would have benefited from speaking to people in the counseling center. And so I tried to do some research on how to kind of get students more involved without going up to every person and being like, we have a counseling center, kind of like that. And Active Minds was kind of something that I've always wanted to talk about mental health on a college campus, just because it's something that I'm very passionate about. I think that it's one of the more important things to kind of help us become the best versions of ourselves. And so I found Active Minds as one of the bigger organizations that helps students in college. And we kind of started a chapter. I started it with my friends. So that was my old roommates and stuff. We actually kind of just joined together and started talking about this. And then I reached out to Essence, who is the advisor of Active Minds, and we kind of just opened up a conversation at school where we had different events. Our first event was a mental health panel where we had different psychologists and therapists come in from the Atlanta area, and they kind of just talk to students about like how they can get help, what it's like being a college student on campus and all of that. And then we also had like stressless nights where we had just painting nights, or like we got a whole bunch of bubble wrap and everyone was just popping bubble wrap during finals. And then we also did a fun thing during like finals and midterms where we gave out self-care packages to students for free. And it was just kind of filled with like positive affirmations, chocolate, just different things to help students get through their tough times. And it's been a lot of fun. We're really trying to get a lot of students to be more involved, and this is like where all of our events come in, and it's going really well. It's really easy to be involved. You kind of just go up, you can go to the counseling center, probably ask someone, and they'll refer you to me or someone else that's on the executive board of Active Minds. And yeah, it's just a lot of fun, and everyone that's on the executive board is very passionate about it.
That's amazing. Sounds like you guys are definitely making a difference on campus. So if anybody's interested in the fall, you're looking for ways to get involved, that could be a great way if this sounds interesting to you. All right, we have a question in the Q&A wondering what times of day the counseling office is open. So maybe we can mention that, as well as if somebody did want an appointment, how would they go about becoming a first-time person who's seeking counseling services?
So the counseling center has been open 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, sometimes occasional evening hours. So we're going to pretty much stick to that, although we may do some hours when we're on Zoom that are a little farther into the evening, and we certainly will do groups around dinner time when students become available. The way to get an appointment is to send an email. We were talking this morning, Essence and I were talking this morning about putting a link on our webpage. But for now, you shoot an email to counselingcenter@oglethorpe.edu and I will respond to you. Let me tell you a little bit what counseling is about. So when I respond to you, I will ask you just a little bit, 1 or 2 lines about what brings you to counseling, so I know what might be a good fit in terms of what therapist. And then we find a time that would work for you, and we set up an appointment. And then you will be sent to a link on our related to our webpage. It's a separate program that asks you some questions about a little bit about your family history, a little bit about what symptoms you're experiencing, if you're experiencing symptoms, what you want to work on. And then you have a meeting with a counselor. And in the first meeting, it's a lot of questions. So in order for us to figure out what's most helpful to you, this will be true even with eCoach, we ask a lot of questions about what your background has been like, how you've done in school, how you've done with friends, how things are in your family, so that we can get the context that, and then we will talk to you about what might be most helpful. So it might be one-on-one counseling, it might be eCoach, it might be a group, it might be joining a club or organization. And again, it's completely confidential. It's a conversation, so it's not like going to a doctor's office. It is really just about having a conversation with somebody that's private and confidential to help with some understanding. Some people are interested in understanding their patterns better, how they interact with people. Some people want, really just want strategies about how to deal with sleep problems. And so you work together with the counselor to figure out what might be helpful. So for right now, you shoot an email to counselingcenter@oglethorpe.edu and I will respond and we'll take it from there.
All right, we have another question in the chat. If it's too complicated to answer, that's okay. We can always refer them to just email you, but I thought I'd throw it out there just in case. This student says, I'm under 18. What would the process be for getting permission signed off from parents? So for younger students, what would be the process of making sure they can still access those services?
Okay, so we have to figure out exactly how we're going to do it with Zoom, because essentially the parent needs to send an email from hopefully an email address that has the parent's name as part of it so that we know for sure it's from the parent. So ideally we want something in writing with their signature that says, I give permission to my student, my child, that I'm the legal guardian. I give permission for them to access counseling services, that you understand that by law, the parents are able to get counseling records until the student turns 18. But for counseling to be effective, we ask that parents agree to confidentiality, that the parents are not going to be contacted about what's going on. And so we have to figure out the way to get that we know it's from the parent and to get the parent's signature now that we're remote and can't get a fax. And we'll figure that part out. But the simple answer is basically that the parent just needs to send notification saying that they give permission and that they're fine with the student having confidential counseling.
Okay. So we'll work with you. If you want those services, don't worry about it. We will work with you and we'll figure it out. All right. So somebody asked about sessions during breaks. So I'm just curious, what do we recommend for students, if they've been accessing services and they're going for spring break or summer break, what do we recommend for them to make sure that they stay well and stay on track?
Essence, you want to take this one?
Sorry, let me unmute myself. Sure. So for shorter breaks, so when we think about like spring break, Thanksgiving break, those typically are only a week. So most people are able to get through that week. And if for some reason that you can't, we'll discuss kind of further what we can do as it relates to summer and Christmas break. Well, not Christmas, but the winter break. That is a little bit longer. So like we talked about earlier, if you feel like you still want to be in counseling, we would of course recommend you maybe seek counseling services in the community, especially if you had a therapist that you probably were seeing before you came to us. It would be a good idea to maybe try to return back to that person. But also if you need a new therapist in the community, then we can definitely help identify somebody that might provide, have that insurance that you have, or that is affordable and for you to be able to see during that time. So we're not actually open during the summer hours or during the winter break.
But I do want to add that, so we're not doing counseling right now. We did through June because things were different and everybody was stuck at home. But so we are not doing counseling right now during July and August, but we're absolutely available to talk about what might be helpful. And we're going to be checking email. I'm going to be checking email every single day. So don't hesitate to reach out to us this summer. But as Essence said, in terms of ongoing service, if you're somebody who really needs therapy throughout the whole year, we will help you find somebody who can be more available, because we're not consistently available during the school breaks.
Okay, so somebody put in the chat that the closest thing they've ever had to counseling has been mentors or family members. Would this be an issue if I decided to pursue these services at Oglethorpe? So is there anything, should a student have experienced this before? What should they expect if they've never had counseling before?
So I'll answer this question. No, you do not have to have experience with counseling before you come into counseling. To be quite honest, the fact that you mentioned the mentor aspect of it, one thing is the comfortableness that you have with your mentor is the comfortableness that we try to achieve within the counseling setting, so that you feel comfortable enough to speak to us about your concerns, your issues, and what's going on with you. I know that the paperwork is one thing that kind of scares people just a little bit, because initially that's all we're doing is paperwork. And of course we need that in order to make sure that we're keeping all of your information, and we're making sure that we keep an accurate file for you. But counseling is a very comfortable, informal setting in most ways. Yes, we do have confidentiality. Yes, we do have certain things that we have to do, but it's very much so like a conversation, like Claire said, and we're just trying to get to the root of the things that are going on with you and assist you as much as we can to help process through those things and give you as much guidance as possible.
Absolutely. And I'll just say, when I was in college, I knew that my college had a counseling center, but A, I didn't know it was free. And B, I thought, well, there's people who have worse problems, or they only want to see people who have really serious things going on. But really, college is a great time to start addressing things that are bothering you, or figure out good patterns, ways to get to know yourself better. It's a time in your life you may not have free counseling services available to you in the future. So if it's something that you're interested in, it's a great thing to explore. Our counselors want to see you. They're very helpful, and they're passionate about helping students. So if it's something you're interested in, definitely really think about it, because it could be a great opportunity to start to really address some of these things and form good, healthy patterns moving forward. So it's a great thing to try to do.
And I want to add that if you have a preference for what counselor you want to see, if you take a look at our website, or after meeting us in this meeting or another, and you have a preference for whom you'd like to see, please let us know. We will make every effort to honor that. Or if you see a counselor and you think, I don't know, I'd rather see somebody else, because as Essence was saying, what I call it is goodness of fit. Like, this therapist is a good match for you. So we're never going to feel like you're saying, oh, that's a bad therapist, if you say, I might be more comfortable with somebody else, because that's how relationships work, right? We're more comfortable with some people than others. So let us know. We want it to work for you.
Perfect. All right. I have a question for Khushboo. I know that that Essence and Claire mentioned some tips for incoming students and things like that. I wondered if you had any tips that you might offer to incoming students, either from your experiences or things you've noticed working. What would you recommend for students getting adjusted to campus and prioritizing being well?
So when I started at Oglethorpe, I lived in the dorms with a roommate that I really didn't know. I was kind of just placed with a roommate, and this was both a blessing and a curse, because I really felt like I couldn't really talk to my roommate, even though she was like one of the very first people that I met. But the thing that I like most about Oglethorpe is that you immediately find your people. Like, as soon as you walk onto campus and you go to the caf, you will find people that are willing to accept you. They will like call you to where they're sitting. They'll just start a random conversation, and it's always just so open. I also really like that we didn't really have this type of stigma around, like, if you're a senior you can't really be friends with a freshman, or if you're a freshman then you should be scared of the seniors. It's kind of like everyone just talks to everyone, and that really helped me kind of get more comfortable with everything that was going on, just like with the stress of being away from family. Kind of, I missed my mom a lot, like the first month, and I would call her pretty much every day, just randomly, just to see how she was doing, probably twice a day as well. But it really helped kind of just being around people that I knew were going through the same thing as I was, that everyone in my dorms, or even just people that were commuting, were all having this similar experience of being new to college. I would also say probably just kind of take it slow. I know that when I started at Oglethorpe, I kind of just wanted to do everything at once. I was like, I want to be in all the clubs, I want to get straight A's, I want to like have a good social life. And I was kind of just trying to do everything at once. And that really took a toll on my mental health, where I was kind of exhausted within the first few months of school. So I would say a good tip would just be take everything slowly. Like, a lot of people feel like they don't have a lot of time, that like the 4 years will go by quickly, but there's like a lot of time to get things done. And then also just talk to your professors, talk to the faculty at school. No one's ever gonna, at least anyone I've ever talked to, like no one's ever turned me away or said that like I don't want to speak to you right now. Like, if they were busy, then they'd send me an email and set up a time to talk. So that was always good. And just kind of be aware of your surroundings as well. Like, know that the counseling center is there, know where the people that you trust the most are, know that campus safety is there. Whenever you need something, you can just call them, and they'll be there to help you. And yeah, just Oglethorpe's really great about kind of making sure that students are safe and happy and accepted in a lot of ways.
Thank you. That's all super good advice. I imagine that the reason a lot of you all chose Oglethorpe and chose a small school is that you want to build those relationships. So please don't feel like you're bothering anybody when you try to talk to them, because that's why they work at a small school. They want to build those relationships too. So make sure that you get to know your professors. That's my biggest regret from college, is not getting to know my professors. So make sure you take advantage of the fact that they're here and want to help you. And a quick plug for Compass Advising. I know that this was mentioned in the presentation. But your Compass advisor is someone that you'll meet within your first 2 weeks of school. And they are somebody who's basically just there to help you whatever you need. So it's going to be with classes and registration, but it's also going to be with making sure that you're meeting people, making sure that you're able to pay your bill, making sure that you're eating and sleeping. And so I'm a Compass advisor. A lot of people on staff and faculty are, and it's one of our favorite things about our job is to getting to know students. So the more that you feel comfortable, hopefully, but the more that you talk to us and let us help you, the more we're able to help you with that whole process. So please feel free to come to your Compass advisors also. Let's see. Here's a good question in the Q&A. Growing up Black, I was taught that counseling or speaking about our problems is the last resort. We've just recently accepted that we can't walk through our problems alone. That being said, some people may have deeper issues than just what is happening in college. Would we be able to work through deeper issues like this? So for somebody who feels like, maybe I have long-standing issues, maybe I have issues that are going to take a while to work with, is this still for them? And what are some things that we can do to make sure we're able to help with things that may not be a quick fix?
So that is a really good question, and I will answer that for you. One of the things is counseling. Yes, for Oglethorpe, we traditionally are short-term counseling. I will say that. However, coming in your freshman year and really being able to identify that there are problems that are deep-rooted and you're taking this opportunity to come into counseling, we're definitely, one, not going to turn you away. And we will take the opportunity to really discuss and attempt to address as much issues as we can that is within our scope and that is within our capability. In the event that we feel like this is something that is going to be ongoing, and it's an agreement between us, not just me making this decision or Claire just making this decision, but me as the counselor and you as the student, really identifying what are the things that you need, how can we continue to process this, what would the treatment plan essentially look like, and if we're able to accomplish this, then we definitely will. But if we feel in agreement that we need to potentially refer you out to somebody else, we will help you and assist you with that option as well. But we are definitely willing to address any issues that you bring up to us, whether we feel like those are longstanding issues or short-term issues.
Thank you. Yes. And one of the things that we have been doing, we've been doing over the last month, is talking to students of color, Black students and other students of color, about how we can make counseling increasingly accessible and feel like a safe place and a place that's for you, because we know the stigma that is around mental health, especially the generation above yours. And so we actually see a lot of Black students, and many come in saying, my parents would not approve of this at all. And so we're really working hard to make it accessible and to make it comfortable for you. And one of the things that we've heard on some of the forums around social justice is that having to go somewhere other than the counseling center feels like a particular barrier for some students and maybe Black students. And so please, if you feel like, well, I'm not going to be able to get to the real issues, come see us, tell us what you need. And students are advocating for us with the administrators, for you, really advocating for you to get the services you need. So we want to make it happen.
All right, thank you for that question. So another question that's in the Q&A, how will the Active Minds Club run due to COVID? Yeah, that's a good question. I think that's part of, we're addressing how everything is going to run in the next semester, right? It's going to be a little bit different. And a lot of clubs, they're still going to be running, they're still going to be active, but they have to look at how are we going to do it in person? Are we going to do it virtually? What room are we going to use to make sure people aren't too close together? Different things like that. So I don't know for sure. I don't want to put anybody on the spot. I don't know if those logistics are worked out yet. So I'm not sure if we can give a super clear answer to you, but I know those are things that we're thinking about. Is there anything you would want to mention to that, Khushboo, or are you still not really sure how to answer that question?
I can kind of talk about how we're planning to move a little bit more into like virtual types of events. So that's kind of like, we'll probably be able to be more involved with students where we can just have students log into a Zoom meeting. And we could probably maybe just talk about tips on how students are dealing with COVID or how students are dealing with being at home during school, and kind of just have this conversation about what we could do for our mental health as students, since we're all kind of going through the same things, and it's essentially like a student to student kind of conversation. We'll probably have a member of the counseling center there just to make sure that everything's good. But we'll probably do that, and then if like it allows, like if we're still at school, we'll probably have smaller events where we don't really have people come in, but we could probably still do the handing out of self-care packets and that kind of stuff to students. I think that'd be really helpful. But if anyone really has like any ideas or if like anyone's really thinking of anything, we'd be happy to kind of hear from you. You could just email me, kpatel@oglethorpe.edu. And then Active Minds also has an Instagram page. It's just ogle_activeminds that you could follow if you're interested, and we'll be posting updates on that as well.
Perfect. I will post that here in the chat for everyone. Great. Okay. Yeah, so we have addressed the questions that we have received. So if you have any more last minute questions, please feel free to send them in. I thought maybe one thing we could do before we go is just offer either a piece of advice or a piece of encouragement to students, before we head out. I would definitely tell students that I know there's a lot of stuff going on that's uncertain, but we're going to have a great year, and anything that you are feeling or concerned about or have come up when you are with us, somebody else on campus is feeling the exact same way, even though it doesn't feel like it. So we don't want you to feel like that's something that you must keep to yourself because it's weird or nobody else is thinking it, because that is not the case. So definitely reach out to people who are around, because we are here to help you. So that is what I would say to all of our amazing incoming students. I don't know if anybody else has a word of advice or encouragement that they'd like to give.
Yes, absolutely. So I would like to say that one of the things that we're really excited about at Oglethorpe is, and committed to, is giving. So what Oglethorpe does well is it gives each student an individual experience based on who they are, what they need, what they're looking for, what's most helpful to them. And we've always been pretty good at it, and that's what we strive for. But more than ever, we are aware that the whole COVID thing creates some barriers and some distance, and we are really committed to meeting each student's individual needs so that we can make this a great experience for you.
I just got another question in the chat that I think we should address. So somebody asked, will there be support groups for people of color, women, LGBTQ+, or other minority groups, especially due to the shift happening in America right now? So I will let you guys address that potential. I will definitely say we have student groups on campus for all of those different populations that we would love to have you join. It's a place where you can get to know other students and allies, and talk about concerns, talk about experiences, and find that support. So that definitely exists in the student space for sure. But I will also let you guys answer the possibility of support groups as well.
So we are in the process of identifying what type of support groups we will have. it works best when the student comes to us and tells us what type of support groups they feel that they need. Because oftentimes we will identify a need, but if the student doesn't necessarily see that need or identify that need, then it's difficult for us to be able to get everybody to come into that support group platform and be able to share and feel comfortable in a group setting. We definitely have considered all of the groups that you all have listed. And so if you do have some type of interest in a group, definitely feel free to send us an email. Claire gave it to you, counselingcenter@oglethorpe.edu, with any of the group recommendations that you feel that you need. And then also, of course, if you know other students that are asking for this same need, to have them do the same thing as well. Because, you know, sometimes it's just one person saying something, but if we can get 5 or 6 people saying something, that's definitely something for us to push forward. But we are definitely open to having any kind of group that's needed for the students, but we are definitely looking into specific ones during this time in this climate.
Yeah, and if you're interested in seeing some of the student groups on campus, you can definitely check out OU Connect, which has lists of all kinds of student groups on campus. We have Outlet, which is a group for LGBTQ students and allies. We have multiple groups for students of color. We're working on a student group for undocumented students for support. So there's definitely lots of people who want to meet you, want to get involved with you, and want you to be part of their group. So definitely, if you Google Oglethorpe OU Connect, it'll come right up, and you can see a lot of different organizations on campus of students that are like-minded and want to get to know you. All right, I think that is all of our questions. Does anybody want to mention anything else before we head out today? I really appreciate you guys being a part of the panel. We have put the email addresses into the chat if anybody wants to reach out and ask questions of anybody here on the panel. People are happy to talk to you, and if you have suggestions, that's the best way for us to know, what programming to offer. So please feel free to provide any suggestions, thoughts, or ask questions, or give us your concerns if you have them. We're really looking forward to welcoming you all in the fall. We are committed to making it a great year and making sure that you feel welcomed and have the most amazing year, your freshman year, and are feeling great for your entire 4 years. So we appreciate all of your time. If you need anything, please let us know. Reach out, and we hope to speak with you soon. Bye, everybody.